Today I have something from the very dawn of Dungeons & Dragons, when things were wild at the gaming table. Everyone was shooting from the hip, the game was much more an exciting new concept than a set of rules, and word was spreading like wildfire through letters, late-night phone calls, and the very first gaming magazines dedicated to the newly forming role-playing community. That magazine was the Strategic Review, where you will find the first appearance of the now very well-known Bard character class, and monsters such as the Fungal Shriekers, the Roper, the Catoplebis, the Clay Golem, and something so notorious that it never again saw its way into any official publication, such as the Danebian Slime Devil. Well, time to give this horrendous nightmare its moment and present to you a match made in hell. A brand new homebrew monster, some information on how clay golems are made in historic Dungeons & Dragons lore, and inspiration for an adventure hook that will present a classic kind of villain, leading to a situation that will draw your players in like plot moths to flame and result in one of the most memorable fights they will ever experience, but probably won't survive. Grab yourself a tasty beverage and settle back. It's time to get deeply nerdy. First, let's delve back in time. The year is 1975, the issue number 4 of the Strategic Review by TSR Hobbies, edited by Gary Gygax. This is where we see the Clay Golem's first appearance in the game. It's not really based on the actual myth of the Golem from Jewish folklore, but it does have a distinctly divine origin. I should point out that this still is the original white box era of Dungeons & Dragons, around when the first printed material for the world of Greyhawk came out, I believe, or close to it, so very early days. The text says that the lawful clerics of 15th level or higher, so that would be a major leader, a cardinal or a pope by the Catholic Church rankings, are able to fashion a man-like form sculpted from clay, then, wearing absolutely stunning, ornate, holy vestments costing no less than 12,000 gold pieces. When you consider that this is the cost of a small galley sailing ship, it puts it in perspective. This was outrageous finery, plus another cost ranging from 5 to 50,000 gold pieces for other costs. Now, clay is not that expensive, so I think it's upgrading a holy shrine, getting some rare incense, a 24/7 choir of top quality fellow worshippers singing sacred chants, the whole 9 yards, a full-on ritual event with the full backing of the church, which is no wonder golems are so rare. When ready, the cleric must use a raise dead, an animate object, and a commune spell as part of the ritual, so they are sending a direct line of communication and supplication to their god and begging for a divine infusion of life into inanimate clay. This only works for lawfully aligned clerics, but they can be good or evil depending on what god they are praying to, I suppose. Not a big deal, as being lawful was a cleric requirement anyway. The resulting clay golem can only be commanded by that cleric, and in all other regards, functions the same as a 12-hit dice earth elemental, so pretty formidable, a smashing machine, a walking super siege engine. There are 2 drawbacks though. First, the golem can't be repaired, and it doesn't heal or repair itself. You would need a wish spell, and who is going to waste a wish on that? So over time, wear and tear means they inevitably get more and more banged up and broken. And here's the important part. There is a 1% chance, tiny chance really, that every time it is commanded by the cleric who made it, nobody else can command the thing. It may become chaotic, not lawful, and begin attacking any and all lifeforms, starting with whatever or whoever is closest to it. Better hope that's not the Pope. It would keep on this rampage until it's destroyed. A single out-of-control clay golem could cause enough mayhem to almost level a city and murder every living thing in it. Alright, now let's zip through 50 years of history to take a look at what has become of clay golems in D&D 2024 edition Monster Manual. There are echoes of that original version for sure. Note, the art includes an arrow stuck into the golem, a bit of unrepaired battle damage. It says, clay golems are magical defenders made from earth and clay to protect places or communities. The materials used in creating clay golems originate from near the location the golems protect, and often have special significance to their creators, such as clay from a holy site or bricks from a magical ruin. While some clay golems are masterfully sculpted to resemble living beings, others have only vaguely human-like forms. These golems obey their creators' orders and protect what their makers value most. Some still follow these orders long after the creators' deaths. Yeah, that's because what happens when the creator dies? The original listing didn't think to mention that part. In the stats and abilities for the golem, we see that it has magic resistance, resistance to blunt, sharp and pointy attacks. Acid actually heals, and it can't be shapeshifted, poisoned or mind controlled. The clay golem is also a lot faster than you would think, able to move just as fast as a person, but also able to make the dashing movements as bonus actions, and makes 2 slam attacks each round with a combo of bludgeoning and acid damage, because Hulk smash. In D&D 2024 reintroduces the excellent bloodied mechanic, or half of total hit points remaining. It's a condition from 4th edition, which I am very pleased about. In the case of clay golems, this is where the loss of control aspect comes in, but has been nerfed with an escape clause and the golem's ability to be repaired. Whenever a golem starts its turn bloodied, roll 1d6. On a 6, the golem goes berserk. On each of its turns while berserk, the golem attacks the nearest creature it can see. If no creature is near enough to move to an attack, the golem attacks an object. Once the golem goes berserk, it continues to be berserk until it is destroyed or it's no longer bloodied. So, just to summarize, compared to the 2024 5th edition version, key updates include a speed increase to 30 feet. That's different in Roll20 version, by the way. Adjusted hit points, simplified resistances, now blanket resistance to physical damage types instead of immunity to non-magical, non-adamantine. The ability to speak languages, a bloodied trigger for berserk, rephrasing of the mutable form, changes to multi-attack and hasten. It's now a bonus action integrated with its special attack, and modified slam damage, split into bludgeoning plus acid damage with automatic maximum hit point reduction tied to the acid damage, which is logical considering the acid is corrosive and destroys more thoroughly, leaving nasty wounds. But I still think damage to armor should be a serious and constant factor in D&D to get players used to more realistic cost and effort it takes to keep armor in good condition. I mean, what are they seeking gold for in the first place if they have little need to keep spending it? Okay, so that is the clay golem. Nice, but fairly unobtainable for your average Joe adventurer, artificer, shifty entrepreneur, cultist, or other non-church leader to create or acquire. Put a pin on that for a moment. Now it's time to show you another creature from the Strategic Review magazine, one so infamous and nasty it was never included in any future monster manuals because it's just too damn nasty for players at the table. That creature is the Danubian Slime Devil. If Danubian sounds familiar, you are a fan of Star Trek. And interesting side lore, deep dive that strangely correlates to my subject today. This is a humorous tongue-in-cheek monster inspired by a throwaway insult in Star Trek, The Trouble with Tribbles, Season 2, Episode 15, where a Klingon calls Captain Kirk a Danubian slime devil, implying a foul, repulsive creature from Deneb 4. That episode was originally written with Harry Mudd in mind for the role that ultimately went to Cyrano Jones, but actor Roger C. Carmel was unavailable due to a scheduling conflict leading to the creation of a new character. Mud, clay, golem. You'll see the funny side of this in a minute, I promise. Anyway, the name Slime Devil is just a name. They're not fiends, not devils, probably not from the Nine Hells. They are, however, really nasty. Here's the original information on it. This creature takes the form of whatever its victim finds most repulsive, or at the referee's option, a large, shambling, smelly, oozy hunk of anthropomorphic swamp gunk. It falls in love with the first human type, including dwarves, elves, and hobbits, it sees, and will follow the unfortunate soul until death. either its own or its victim's. If its victim dies, it will attach itself to the next human type it sees. All Denebian slime devils are tireless trackers that seep through small cracks, pinholes, and porous materials, but not through metal, glazed pottery, or well-fitted masonry. They never voluntarily separate from their victim. If struck by a weapon, magical or normal, it splits into 1 to 4 replicas of itself, each attaching to the nearest available human type. Denebian slime devils have a negative charisma and will cause any non-player character or creature encountering one to have a 50% chance to flee in sickened repulsion or attack the victim in anger for having such a repulsive brute in proximity. Denebian slime devils may be killed or dispelled by any means the referee finds entertaining. A few examples are telling it that its mother wants it, calling it cute, lovable little devil, and smothering it with kisses, or sealing it into a specifically constructed tower by means of passwall along with an illusionary victim by means of phantasmal force. Having a wino, a non-player hireling, breathe on it. Note, for each time, these non-player methods work only once. Effects of spells, etc. are up to the referee. A final referee note: Denebian slime devils do nothing to aid the character. If the victim is attacked, they will stand aside, wringing their hands or whatever, and moaning in their distinctive high-pitched nasal whine, "Oh my, oh dear, this is terrible, oh, I can't look, oh dear." Note it says specifically that they can't move through glazed pottery, and they are tireless trackers who never separate from the target of their obsession voluntarily. They also have pretty tremendous 90% resistance to magic, but given that they can be fooled with illusions that are not immune to mind control, like a clay golem is, this gave me a truly evil idea. I present to you the idea of a non-player character who invents or is shown how to create a combination of these two things in the form of a pottery or ceramic golem. Now, the reason why is obvious, because making a proper clay golem or other type is way beyond the financial means, the moral outlook, and there is a significant demand for magical automations, which with some degree of intelligence. Plus, glazed and fired ceramics can be custom designed. It's not just a practical way to seal the surface, it's a beautiful way to decorate it. And a ceramic golem custom made in the livery of a noble house, the flag of a kingdom, the crest of a guild, the uniform of an army or mercenary company, the favourite colours of a merchant, or perhaps even the form of something more lush, seductive, muscular and gleaming for an establishment catering to exotic and adult entertainment, or just an ornate design sculpted and coloured for the sensibilities of specific cultures, venues and events, maybe even camouflaged to blend into a specific terrain or environment. The possibilities are endless. In semi-official sources, there is a precedent for ceramic golems. The mineral-based golem from the Dungeons & Dragons Adventure Begins cooperative board game released in 2020 is designed for protection or labour and lacks the elemental spirit infusion of proper clay golems. They're more like animated junk piles. But what happens when you seal a Denebian slime devil inside a heat-resistant urn and put it into a hollow articulated body, which is then fired in a kiln? Well, you get a ceramic golem. The golem is durable, articulated construct powered by the trapped Denebian slime devil, or DSD, whose natural oozing and acidic properties animate the form like an internal engine. It can be exposed through a sealed glass port to its new master, becoming obsessed with them and tirelessly following them around, compelled by further enchantments to follow their basic instructions. The ceramic golem is not animated clay. It is vitrified, grinding, mobile statue full of internal voids, channels, and reliquary chambers. The slime devil is no longer free-bodied. It is stretched, folded, bound, and smeared through the interior like living hydraulic fluid between double walls. It provides motive force, corrosive healing, and semi-autonomous motion to joints and limbs. It's not inside the golem the way a pilot is inside a mech. It's distributed. As it becomes damaged in combat or from brutal activity, such as smashing through walls, churning through ore-filled rock, splintering the trunks of trees, or ploughing through soil, it tends to heal minor cracks, restoring wear and tear in a way ceramics normally wouldn't, which seems like magic a lot more legit than it actually is. However, when the damage becomes serious and the cracks damage the core containment areas, there is a strong chance the inner slime, always under pressure to get out, will squirt out and the true, horrific, stinking rot monster on the inside is revealed. That's exactly what happens in combat when the ceramic golem loses half or more of its total hit points and the bloodied condition turns the encounter into something the players will not be expecting. We are going to call this special condition breached rather than bloodied, as it's got some extra nasty qualities here. If the player characters or some other source inflicts catastrophic damage and sunders it entirely, the Danubian Slime Devil is set free and the players are in for a world of hurt that is truly Gygaxian. And I'm not even going to try and tone it down. Let them feel the horror and frustration as it was originally intended. Okay, so I've come up with a full modern stat block for the monster with the latest edition, D&D 2024. Here we go. Ceramic Golem, kiln-fired vessel, challenge rating 6, large construct, unaligned. Armor class 16, kiln-fired ceramic shell. It's got 102 hit points on average. Speed is 20 feet, slightly slower than your clay golem. Strength 18, dexterity 9, constitution 17, intelligence of 3, wisdom of 8, and charisma of 1. Saving throws, constitution plus 6, damage resistance, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons. Damage immunities, poison. Conditional immunities, charmed, exhaustion, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, and poisoned. It's got a tremor sense. It can also see normally, but it's got a tremor sense of 60 feet and a passive perception of 9. It understands the language of its creator, but it can't speak. And it's got a challenge rating of 6. Can't speak because it's inside the golem. The traits: as kiln-fired vessel, it's immune to polymorph and petrification. It's got advantage on saving throws or spells against spells or effects that would reshape, soften, or transmute earth, stone, or clay. If the golem takes 20 or more bludgeoning force or thunder damage from a single source, it must succeed on a DC 14 Constitution save or enter a breach state. It's got the trait of a distributed engine, and it's immune to effects that would stun, daze, or put it to sleep. Effects that would paralyze or restrain it reduce its speed to 0 until the end of its next turn. It counts as a siege monster. The golem does double damage to objects and structures. It's got an acid reaction. When the golem takes acid damage, it is healed instead and may immediately take a bonus reaction to move up to its speed. Its actions include 2 slam attacks. They are a melee weapon attack plus 7 to hit, reach of 5 feet, 1 target, does 11 bludgeoning damage, no extra acid damage. Kiln Surge, or Acid Surge, which is a bonus action. It means it can move up to its speed and make 1 slam attack. So, the breach state. Breach trigger is when it's reduced to 51 hit points or fewer. Or failing a kiln-fired vessel save, the ceramic shell partially ruptures and the Danubian Slime Devil inside begins to extrude itself. While in a breach state, the slam attacks add 1d6 acid damage. Creatures that hit the golem with melee attacks take 2 acid damage. At the start of each of the golem's turns, the referee rolls 1d6 for 1 extrusion hazard. This is either the acid spray, a grasping tendril, a venting slime. Radiates Danubian Revulsion. Danubian Revulsion is an aura of 10 foot. Non-construct living creatures that start their turn in the aura or enter it must succeed on a DC 14 Constitution save or be affected by one of the 4 following. Retching Stupor means they're poisoned and their speed is reduced to 0 until the end of the turn. Misplaced Fury, they immediately attack the nearest creature other than the golem, mainly because they're just blinded by the miasma of Ick. Revulsion Flight, they move directly away from the golem up to their own speed, or sickened shock. They're just stunned until the start of the next turn because they're vomiting. Success grants an immunity for 24 hours, no charm or fear. Not charm or fear. Major rupture. Second failed kiln-fired vessel save while in breach. The aura doubles to 20 feet. Simple. Start of turn, acid damage is 1d6 instead of 2. Ruined. When reduced to 0 hit points, the ceramic shell collapses into jagged shards and the Denebian slime devil inside is freed. So I've given some stats, the Denebian slime devil. It's kind of special because it's a narrative creature. So it's got an effective challenge rating of 8, which is actually higher than the Golem. It's a medium unaligned creature. Its armor class is narrative. It's not defined. Its hit points are also narrative. It can't be destroyed by conventional means. Its speed is 20 feet. Its movement limitation, it can't pass through metal, glazed pottery, or well-fitted masonry. Its traits, obsessive attachment. Follows first human type it encounters, never separates voluntarily. If target dies, immediately attaches to the next human type. Indestructible. Can't be killed or permanently harmed except by referee-determined methods. Revulsion. Any creature encountering it has a 50% chance to flee or attack the target it is obsessed with. Splitting. If struck, it may divide into 1 to 4 duplicates, attaching to the nearest human types. Tireless. Does not need to eat, sleep, or breathe. Unhelpful ally. Will not aid characters and will moan, wail, or emit nasal shrieks when attacked. Now, I leave the damage that this thing can do blank. It's up to you. I suggest leave it pretty small and make it strictly acid damage. Now, you have a relatively cheap, easy to make, highly profitable and extremely dangerous product for your nefarious, greedy bastard bad guy to sell, sell, sell. The moral here is that there is always a serious drawback to cutting corners and doing things cheap and nasty. Put in the hard work, do your research, or we all go down in screaming, sloppy, burning chaos. There are many monster ecology YouTubers out there, but only a few do it right. So, there you have it, friends. A monster born from the earliest days of Dungeons & Dragons, a vessel of obsession and chaos, and a concept that stretches across decades of gaming history into the modern imagination. If you've enjoyed diving this deeply into the origins, ecology, and narrative potential of the Clay Golem and its kiln-fired Denebian slime devil powered evolution, there's plenty more waiting for you. I have stats for this creature for use in Shadowdark, 2014 5th edition, and something suitable for all OSR type games. You can find me over on Fourthwall, where I have a range of merchandise for fans of deep nerdy content. The newly deeply nerdy t-shirt, baseball cap and hoodie, the deeply nerdy mug, and even a cheeky slogan t-shirt, don't hate me, it turns me on. And if music is more your thing, I've released a full D&D themed heavy metal album called Necrotheosis. It's downloadable for just $1, completely free of ads, perfect for listening offline, suitable for driving to work, a hardcore morning shot of D&D adrenaline to the spine, or rage-inducing power for your workout sessions. Personally, I find the track called Warforged perfect for that. For a wider array of content, not just D&D lore, I post regularly on Substack, sharing essays, insights, and prospects that or projects that I don't put anywhere else. And for those who want to talk shop with other fans, share resources, or ask me detailed questions about Toril, the Sages of the Forgotten Realms Facebook group is one of the most carefully moderated, politics and nonsense-free homes on the internet outside of the Forgotten Realms wiki. Finally, my Discord server is where supporters across any platforms get a dedicated message board. I frequently post updates about upcoming videos, music, artwork, and more. It's also a great place to find a gaming group online, jump into dedicated video chat rooms, and just hang out with people who love the realms as much as you do. Oh yeah, for those of you who watched all the way to the end of this video, in the original Star Trek episode where the Denebian slime devil is referred to as an insult slung by a Klingon, the character Harry Mudd was supposed to be part of the story. I find it hilarious that it just happens to be paired. I've just happened to pair the slime devil with a clay golem, because clay is made out of essentially mud. These things amuse the hell out of me. Strange synergies arriving out of the chaos. It's literally the meaning of life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment for the YubTub Demon. Tip comments genuinely make my day, and this time of the year, they're more important than ever because the ad revenue is down for the next couple of months. Thanks for listening. My name is AJ Pickett, and as always, I'll be back with more for you very soon.